Mira was 12 years old when Earth fell to the Zyrrhax. They came without warning, an unstoppable force of biomechanical creatures with no mercy. Her parents were taken during the initial invasion, and she had been left to survive on her own in the ruins of what was once a thriving human colony. For months, Mira scavenged through the remains of a military outpost in the Nevada desert. The Zyrrhax had deemed the site worthless after dismantling its weapon systems. But for Mira, it was a treasure trove. Each day, she crawled through rubble, collecting wires, scrap metal, and fragments of alien technology discarded by the invaders. She had no grand plan until the night she discovered the fusion drive. The discovery, it was buried beneath a collapsed bunker. Mira had been looking for food when her scanner, a cobbled-together device made from alien parts, beeped wildly. Digging through the debris, her hands uncovered the sleek, glowing core of a fusion engine, its surface scorched but intact. Her heart raced. She had heard stories of Earth's fusion-powered ships, the ones that had been destroyed during the Zyrrhax's first wave. If she could repair the drive, she might be able to build a ship her way off Earth. Mira dragged the engine back to her makeshift hideout, a camouflaged cave in the desert hills. Over the next few weeks, she worked tirelessly, using bomb casings for the ship's hull and alien alloys for reinforcement. She constructed a rough but functional vessel. Her biggest challenge was fuel. The Zyrrhax used crystalline power sources, far more advanced than anything humans had ever developed. Stealing one would mean venturing into Zyrrhax-occupied territory, a deadly risk. The raid. Mira planned for days, studying the patrol routes of the Zyrrhax drones. On a moonless night, she crept into their camp, a sprawling complex of glowing structures and skittering biomechanical soldiers. She found what she was looking for, a cache of crystalline fuel cells, locked behind a barrier of alien energy. With her makeshift EMP device, Mira disabled the barrier for just long enough to grab 2 cells. The moment she touched them, alarms blared. Zyrrhax drones swarmed, their sharp limbs glinting in the pale light. Mira ran, weaving through the camp, her small frame allowing her to slip through gaps the bulky aliens couldn't. She reached her hidden motorbike and sped off into the desert, the Zyrrhax in pursuit. By the time she reached her cave, the drones had lost her trail. Her heart pounded as she loaded the stolen cells into the ship's power core. The engine hummed to life, a low, steady thrum that filled her with hope. The chase. Mira had no time to celebrate. The Zyrrhax weren't giving up. Their patrol ships were closing in, their sensors locked on the energy signature of her fusion drive. She activated the ship's systems, flipping switches and pressing buttons she barely understood. The cockpit glowed with alien and human interfaces cobbled together into a chaotic control panel. Come on, she muttered, slamming her hand on the ignition. The ship's engines roared, shaking the ground as it lifted off. Mira gripped the controls, her knuckles white as she piloted the craft into the night sky. Below, the Zyrrhax patrols fired plasma bolts, but her ship was too fast. The fusion drive propelled her upward, past the atmosphere, into the vastness of space. Freedom and the future. As Earth became a small blue, up behind her, Mira programmed the ship's navigation system to head for Mars. She had heard whispers of a human resistance colony there, a place where survivors were regrouping to fight back against the Zyrrhax. The journey would be long, and her ship was far from perfect. Panels sparked, and the guidance system occasionally flickered, but Mira was undeterred. She had built this ship with her own hands, from scraps of destruction. As she gazed out at the stars, a sense of hope filled her chest. She was no longer just surviving. She was fighting back. Somewhere out there, humanity still lived, and she was determined to join them. Mira smiled, gripping the controls tighter. Her escape wasn't just her survival. It was the first step toward reclaiming the galaxy.